Hey, this is Now You Try, a podcast about self-sufficiency, sustainability, craftsmanship, and everything it takes to do it yourself.
Okay, so very cool topic and kind of a series I've been wanting to kick off for a while here. Kind of the end of the world series.
Right. I think we preface this whole thing with, we're not like preppers.
We're not preppers.
We're not like we didn't put this whole thing together to like go live in a cabin in the woods, off the grid, separate yourself from society.
Right. What makes it entertaining is that we really don't know what we're doing in terms of prepping. That's
exactly.
So people listening will get to just poke all sorts of holes in our big plans here. But yeah, I've thought about, we've talked about these scenarios for the end of the world. Like what are things that are going to come up? And the fun part of it is you can come up with a million different scenarios.
Oh, yeah.
You can come up with, we'll get into all those.
Because there's all different variations of end of the world.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I'm not really up on prepping literature, obviously, as we said, but there's there's the end of the world as we know it, where it's like extinction event or something like that, and people are dying. Or there's the end of civilization, the end of whatever. There's all this sort of thing. There's different levels.
There's we run out of food.
Yeah,
we run out of resources.
Yeah, and
financial market dies.
And that kind of plays right into the one that I wanted to start this whole thing with, because it's the most basic, most wide open, but it is the best thought exercise, I think, is that what happens when the power goes out and doesn't come back on?
So it's funny because we were actually at the coast a couple weeks ago, and we were down in Corpus Christi, and somebody drove their car into a transformer. And it caught on fire.
Not like the Michael Bay robots.
Correct. Like the electricity thing.
Okay, yeah, not that. Okay.
Killed power to the whole island.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was actually kind of hilarious because...
What a tenuous connection to power that one transformer just put the whole... That's in and of itself frightening.
The whole thing, yeah. So the power was out for 3 hours, and you'd have thought it was not coming back on.
Time.
Yeah. I mean, we were all losing our minds. There may have been beverages involved in this, but there was 7 kids. No, 6 kids. There were 6 kids there. Luckily, the iPads didn't die before we could charge them back. Yeah.
So what we know then is that in the first 4 hours of an apocalypse, we'll have our kids distracted.
iPads. Yeah. They won't know what's going on.
We'll be good.
That's how much time you have to figure out another plan. But, we're all running around, and one of the moms there keeps going, I feel like we should open the windows because I feel like we're in like a kid locked in a car situation here.
What?
And we're all gonna start getting heat stroke or something. And she's freaking out. Well, by the time the power came back on 3 hours later, I just happened to be standing next to the thermostat. I was like, I'm going to drop this sucker and cool it off in here. And the thermostat was reading 78 degrees.
This was the apocalyptic temperature that we were dealing with.
We're all sweating our balls off. It's sticking our face in the cooler, trying to cool off. And it was only 78 degrees. So based on that, we're in trouble.
That group is not the survival group, as it turns out. Yeah, and that's why it's such an interesting thing to me, is that there's obviously just the immediate comedy of how comfortable our lives are.
Oh, yeah.
The immediate comedy. And but there's also the part of when you just take away electricity, how much is not available to you anymore.
Yeah, when you start playing I'll do this game. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
Oh, okay, well, you're right. Okay, well, I'll do this instead. Nope.
Right, because I think what you have to consider is that it's electricity. It's one of those things that literally is taken for granted so much that you forget that things operate on it. Like back in the day, people used to forget that phones needed electricity. They do. And, you nowadays... you would think right now there's a power outage in your house, but you can still pull up your phone and see is there an update or anything like that? If all the power goes out,
your phone doesn't work anymore.
Phone does nothing. The data centers, the towers, everything. Maybe there's an off chance things will run for a little bit, but not for long.
There might be some reserve power for a couple of hours, but
eventually that's going away.
Right.
That's just going to be. a cool source of a little bit of copper and Gorilla Glass in your phone is all that's going to be after like a couple of days. It's not going to be, I mean, it'll be a fun calculator and flashlight until the battery runs down.
Right.
But it's just little stuff like that. Like the internet's not available to us anymore. We can't podcast anymore.
We can't.
Yeah.
I can't live blog the power outage.
No, you wouldn't be able to. There's
well, on my phone.
That's true.
But that would drain my phone battery faster.
That's true.
And I probably need any phone battery I have to try to get somewhere else.
Yes, because maps, how much have we backslid in mapping ability?
Oh my gosh.
Just because of that.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
How did anybody get anywhere?
We used to just say that we were going to show up somewhere, and then everybody showed up.
There's this, I can't remember who the comedian is, but he talks about, before there were cell phones, if you were going to meet like another couple for dinner, right? And you guys are saying, okay, we're gonna meet there at 7:00. Well, nowadays, if you can't make it or you're going to be late or whatever, it's like you text. You send a text or you call.
It's considered rude not to.
If you're like over 60, you call.
Yeah.
But then he says, but back before there were cell phones, if those people didn't show up at 7:00, you just assume they were dead.
Right. You move on with your life. Like just check
until you get home to check your answering machine where they left a message that said, Susie got sick, so we had to stay home. You just assume they're dead.
And we were old enough to live in that. Like we did. And it seems like a million years ago. Like also, we weren't living in the adult world at the time. So I think that's part of it. But the teenage world I was living in.
Sure.
During that being the reality. But yeah, like you just check the obits the next day and like, Rand and Nance are dead.
Yeah, that's why they didn't make it. All right, they actually were dead.
Just got to find some new friends. I guess.
Yeah, but like, how did people get to restaurants?
I
go to places 5 minutes from my house
and map it,
and I map it.
Yeah, it's a crutch, man. And I mean, think about when we get off the grid, when we're out in, when we're out hunting, when we're out camping, stuff like that. You still use it. Mm-hmm. Like, because you can download the map and look at it, and you have GPS and all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, before cell phones, when you're sitting in a tree stand, you just got to look at the leaves.
Ooh.
Now I just like check Facebook until the sun starts to come up.
We Anybody else get anything? No. Yeah,
I've seen those threads.
Yeah.
In some of the hunting Facebook groups I'm in.
Yeah.
It's like opening day, and it's like just like people just live status updating. Mm-hmm. Anybody see anything yet? Anybody see anything? Couple does.
Like somehow not realizing that everybody doing the exact same thing won't be that interesting after the 5,000th time. But,
exactly.
But it's me doing it, so my story's cool. Yeah.
What I have to say is important.
Very much so. As we sit here podcasting. So what I envisioned when I guess in my mind when I thought about what's your plan. Let's take it from day one.
Okay.
Day zero, whatever you want to call it. Like, let's just say you wake up in the morning and it's really warm in your house. It's like a late summer like it is right now. It's really warm. Notice everything. Lights aren't turning on. Power's off. Okay. I'd say from there to, your first hour or two or 3 hours, 4 hours, you're like, it's a power outage, whatever. Mm-hmm. You're going to be like, yeah.
It's like open the fridge as little as possible.
Yeah. I think so when is the first time do you think you notice in your day-to-day life? Let's say I'll do mine, but when's the first time you notice? How long does it take for you to notice, hey, something's up?
Oh, I'd wake up sweating. Just sweating my balls off.
I guess I mean beyond just power off. I mean, how long till you figure out this isn't just a power outage? Like it's not just like a local, like my power's out. How long does it take you to figure out something's up?
Well, I will wake up, roll over, grab my phone.
Yeah.
Just rolling out of bed.
I think everybody kind of.
And I would pull that up and I would check just the general news feed.
Yeah.
And if that's like power's out, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, but okay, the power's out everywhere. Nobody's been able to update that the power's out and put a story up about it. Like maybe.
Yeah, if you look at that update and you're like, last update 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, like maybe there's that, just like you said, maybe there's reserve power, maybe there's enough in a lot of places for people to get it out on social media, for news outlets to put it on social media. So maybe that'd be your first clip.
Okay.
I think for a lot of people, it would have not a long time ago, like, several years ago, been like, you turn on the radio and nothing's there.
Right.
There's nothing on the radio. There's nothing on TV. You turn it on. I think that'd be a big thing for a lot of people.
We've actually gotten a lot better about not turning on the TV in the mornings.
Yeah.
We used to get up and turn on the TV every morning.
Yeah, it's like that.
To get the news going,
that ambient noise and all.
Today Show, whatever.
Yeah,
just kind of getting.
But we don't do that either.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, so and that's what kind of prompted that thought of how your day starts.
Probably. Well, I would say get in the car to take the kids to school.
Yeah, and the power, but the red lights won't work.
If the power's out at my house, then I know it's probably out at the school as well.
Because you're really close.
So we're probably not going to take the kids, assuming the power's out.
Yeah. You get no communications from work. Like, nobody's going to be sending you anything from work.
Yeah.
The red lights aren't going to work.
Right.
Maybe
we do get in the car to drive to school. Maybe the power's on at school. And driving there, again, super lucky I got one red light.
Yeah.
But I see that one red light's not working. That's weird.
So something that I have, well before I had this idea, but I read about when you have like citywide outages and things like that, is you walk outside and you notice how quiet it actually is. Because you don't even realize, inside your house you notice it, especially with the buzz and the hum and everything. But when you get outside, you don't realize how many like power lines, street lamps, underground, electrical lines, everything, how much noise and how much ambient hum there is. And people have talked about like when there's big outages, it's different when you step outside. Like you're still going to have car traffic and you're still going to hear all that, but it's different.
You have significantly less of that.
Right.
Because people are like trying to figure out what's happening.
Right. They got to figure out their situation at home. So I think that would be eerie and maybe enough to set off that internal thing in every human is like something's up. Like something's not right. But yeah, so you get through that. You go through your entire first day, and there's no power, and you're starting to figure stuff out. Your phone doesn't work, let's say, by this time.
Okay.
Like you can't reach out to anybody, and battery's getting low. You can't charge your phone or anything like that. You've been trying all day. Okay, let's say we get through. Let's give ourselves a 3-day window to say like we try to do like no, we can't do that because food starts spoiling.
Yep.
So after first day, what are we doing? What are we doing on the first 24 hours?
Jeez.
We wake up the next day.
I guess we're looting.
Okay, that was 0 to 100, man. That's way fast.
Yeah, because so you got to think about food. You've got some food in your house, right? First thing you do is probably just like try to start cooking what's in the fridge. Like eat what you can. Yeah. I guess.
Keep that fridge closed as much as possible.
Keep it closed as much as possible as well. But you got to know that food's going to run out.
You got a generator?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. And I've been shopping for them because I've been thinking about this kind of stuff. I've been thinking about that. And
you need to figure out a way to bury that sucker and sound dampen it so the neighbors don't know you got one.
Yeah, because then you're going to be Mr. Popular.
Yep.
That's right. And that's I think once you get like a week or two out, stuff like that becomes real important. Like the who has and who doesn't kind of stuff becomes real important. So
I'm betting my neighbor does.
Yeah, he's a prepared fella.
I think so.
We have quite a lot of like handy prepared outdoors people here in this neighborhood too, and I think that plays into everybody's hands a little bit. But so that first day is kind of about like.
You put everything in the Yeti.
Just stabilizing.
But it stays cold for days.
Yeah. And seriously, you would. Even though you would, I think, the long game. See, we can sit here and say like we know the power's out forever, but you can't play total long game all the time. Say like we'll just forget that dairy food, toss it. It doesn't matter. You would just say, okay, we need to try to conserve that. We need to try to consume it or whatever. You would try to do that in those first few days.
Yeah.
After 72 hours of no power, of no sign of anything like that. I would feel like that most intelligent people would figure out, hey, this could be a while. Something's up. And it's like, I think a lot of people that are more in that mindset would be thinking like, this is it. Like this is what I've been preparing for. This is what I've been stocking stuff away for. And I think that's when you start thinking more long-term. I would say that 72-hour point would be the point where like, okay, what do we have here that we can hole up with, or what do we need to go get? And how do we get it?
But how do you get it?
You can't go to the grocery store because you can't swipe cards anymore. None of the registers are going to work.
And it's pitch black in there.
Yeah, that's right. And whatever daylight comes through your supermarket or whatever in the front windows, that's what you're going to see. That's what you have to shop with.
Right.
Stuff's going to be spoiling left and right in there.
They can't take cash. They can't take cards.
Yeah. I mean, okay, and this is another big conversation. That's probably at like the 2 week mark or whatever. Because we'll get to that, but I want to get to the money thing, because I think that's really interesting too, especially more than it used to be. But after 3 days, I think people have to go and start getting, because not everybody's got water stockpiled.
Right.
I did not think about this. I had to read about this, that running water is going to go away.
Yeah.
Because unless you have unless you have a well on your land, and a lot of those run on power too. I'm talking about unless you have like a manual well that you can create pressure with, like those are electrical as well a lot of times. And in places where, you have like hydroelectric dams and stuff like that, or they run on electricity as well. So like, all the electricity is going to go out when those go down.
All the water treatment plants.
All the water treatment plants are down.
So even if you do have water coming through, it may not be the water you want.
So running water is going to go away, and people are going to start getting sick probably. Yep. If they do drink, the stuff that's treated and coming through the pipes, still not treated and come through the pipes, if that's a possibility. Mm-hmm. So people are going to realize they need water.
Yeah.
And they have to get out of the house. And I think that 2 to 3 days, that's pandemonium. I think that's when looting starts. And I mean, I think like big events like Katrina show us that. That's what happens.
And two, it's not like, we'll drive to the store and just get, you only have as much gas as is in your car.
Because gas pumps are electrical.
They're not going to work anymore.
You can't get it out of the ground without the pumps. And gas spoils.
Which means you can only go, I'm going to get out of town. You can go as far as you have as much gas.
Right.
In your tank.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
If you watch The Walking Dead, you can see that's when they used to care about the story. Like they, they used to have that as part of it.
It's one of the most precious commodities.
It is. And it's going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to be gone. So I think the 3 to 7 day window is going to be pandemonium. And getting stuff out of grocery stores, and that's when your looting is going to start.
Mm-hmm.
What I started thinking was, how do you avoid... Like, what kind of stuff can you have in place without being a total, just living as a prepper?
Sure.
What do you have in place to where you can avoid, like, okay, I got to go storm the grocery store with every other slapdick on the planet?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of food? Like in our pantry, just because we've had a little, like, snap of this a couple of years ago, like, we have tons of rice and beans and canned foods kind of, like, just built up.
Sure.
And big jugs of water. And that's cool. That can at least get you to where it's not going to be a forever. Nothing is. But it gives you time to think. It gives you breathing room.
It gives you time, because like you said, that 3 to 7, first couple days might be a little weird. Day 3 to day 7 is when it might be real crazy, right?
And if you're smart, also, I just thought about this. You should have been taking water out of your faucet and filling everything you can with it.
Yeah.
While it's still running.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
If you can hunker down in that first 7 days and just stay
in your castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then after that, that's when you start thinking about going.
Yeah. So flash forward, let's say that you can...
Because the traffic. Think about the traffic.
Because there's no stoplights
No
anymore.
stoplights.
Everybody's trying to get somewhere, or they're trying to convene somewhere with somebody they know. People are going to start banding together pretty quickly. Like, I thought about, like, in this neighborhood we have right here, like, this would become a commune real quick. This would become like, hey, what do you got? What can I do?
Right.
Real quick. You'd have a lot of cooperation in a place like this. And, I think, again, some of that is just the availability to do it. We live in like a middle-class neighborhood. People have more resources and buildings here that, we own and stuff. So I think that's good. But, you get to that like 2 week point. You got to think about, there are a lot of people that don't have access to their own building, their own stuff, and they don't have people around that are going to cooperate with them. And they're the ones that got to get. You're going to start dealing with desperate people pretty quickly.
Yep.
You're going to start dealing with people that are hungry. And, I mean, a hungry person is a dangerous
and
person.
Thirsty.
Yeah. And, there's a, I don't like to get into the whole, like, Mad Max style of thing, but there is a reality.
Jump straight to post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. So what kind of sawed-off shotgun are you keeping in
your...
But seriously, there comes a point where you are going to have a minority of people that are going to see it more efficient to loot and to take and to steal than to get it on their own. So, yeah, that part gets scary. And,
it does.
Guns are still very much a reality, especially in the United States. There's more
especially
of them,
in Texas.
than there are people. Yeah, by quite a lot in Texas, too. So, ammunition's going to be a zero-sum thing. They're not going to be making any more at that point.
Right.
Unless you can make it yourself. So, I mean, that's a whole litany of stuff that you can get into right
I'm just
there.
making a list.
Yeah.
Of like new hobbies and new equipment.
One of the things I've got to get ready for. But yeah, I think so. I'm trying to like put it into like landmark points. I think I think as early as like day 4 or 5. I think the people that are already hardened, the people that might already used to criminal activity, the people that are more desperate are going to start taking advantage.
Yep.
I think that's for sure. Here's a question though, and this is one that's I kind of float in and out about. Do you stay where you are? Do you stay at home? Do you stay in your neighborhood?
Me personally?
Yeah, in your situation.
Man, I think we get out.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think we go to my mom and stepdad's place.
Yeah, they live out about 2.5 hours away from here.
2.5 hours away.
What are those, 25, 30 acres, something like that?
40.
40, okay, yeah.
40 acres of land. And my stepdad is one of the most resourceful people I know.
Yeah,
I know for sure. He's got a couple generators and all that kind of stuff. But they got land, which means you have options.
Yeah. And I think there's a temptation for me, if I turn that question back on myself, there's a temptation for me to want to stick here because I have, a pretty good community right where I am. I know a lot of these people real well. We're friends. And, we all have kids and we'll have a shared interest in taking care of that.
Yeah.
But
how long does that last?
how long does that last? And how long does it take till somebody that needs and wants rolls through a neighborhood like this to find what they're looking for?
Yeah.
I know that, again, that's Mad Max stuff. And, that's not the first thing you should be thinking. You should be thinking, honestly, more about where your food's coming from than you should that kind of stuff. But you should be prepared for the fact that for some people, the option becomes, I need to take it.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah, there you go. And other humans are probably the worst thing you're going to deal with in any apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah, and I mean, we live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be on that day one. People combing through your neighborhood.
Right.
They're going to hit those urban areas first.
Yeah.
Where there's just tighter clumps of people and stuff.
And I think you got weeks until you start getting that kind of danger in like suburban areas like this. I think you're pretty good to that. And that, again, what that gives you is breathing room, trying to figure it out. But I do tend to think over the long term, past weeks and months, it's better to get out.
I think so.
Because you get more options, I guess. Like if I think about, your stepdad, I think about your parents' place out there. You just have more options and you have less pressure. There's not the pressure of other people.
For somebody to come out there, they gotta come out there.
Yeah, they gotta mean it. It's the trade-off. It's the classic human trade-off, right? You are going to have less ability to lean on other people, but you're going to have more freedom to do things that you need to do for yourself. Like you won't have access to a doctor most likely out there anywhere close. You won't know that. Like in this neighborhood, probably 6 or 7 within a mile of me.
Yeah.
But how good?
One within arm's reach.
Yeah, one literally in the house right now. So, what is... But then again, there's a lot of medicine that's not that useful without facilities.
Right.
So how useful really is that? So, I mean, you got to start thinking about things like first aid. Do you have a first aid kit? Do you have a decent one? I can tell you we do. We've got a world class first aid kit. That's one thing the wife is.
We got Band-Aids and alcohol wipes.
Yeah, but we got several different animated characters on those Band-Aids, so we got all our bases covered. Yeah, we got them all.
When we're in trouble is when those Incredibles Band-Aids run out.
Yeah, bring out the big guns.
Then forget about it.
Yeah. When we got to get Elastigirl involved on a wound, we know it's getting serious. So, okay, at the 2-week point, so when's your bug out point? When's the point where you do get out? When do you decide, hey, let's get out? So many factors. I know it's impossible to say, but when do you think you bug out?
I mean, I think we're out within the week.
Within the week. Because you have that option. You know somebody out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that because when it gets down to the nitty gritty, how much in your house do you really need to pack up and go with? Do you need the Eat, Love, Pray sign on the wall? Do you need the coffee maker? No, you don't. You grab what food and what water you can and you get.
And useful tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
Useful tools.
I say take your tool chest, everything you can with it. You take the first aid kit.
Yep.
You take any sharp edge things. You take guns. You take bows. You take all those things that you can. God, I bet that's a list in of itself right there. What do you pack in the car when you get? You can have the jump bag. You can have the the oh shit bag, as you call it.
Yeah.
But if you have time to pack an entire car,
we're gonna pack that thing from butt to nut.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's gonna be kids are gonna be holding stuff in their laps. There's gonna be
not iPads.
No, those will be cutting boards.
Exactly.
In our new apocalyptic future.
Really nice cutting boards.
Really nice. This Gorilla Glass is beautiful.
Well, the glass is awful for your knives, though.
Oh, well.
Side note, don't use glass cutting boards.
Yeah, you'd be the guy in the apocalypse. That knife is Japanese. That is actually...
yes, and I need to get in this can of beans, so I'm using it.
Back off. Having that option, and you grew up more rural than I did, so I think technically.
Let's use that real loosely.
Dude, you raised a prize pig, all right? So...
Well, again, at my grandpa's place, not like in my backyard.
Right, but you were involved in the raising of a prize pig. So I think
correct.
If we're just scoring points in a column,
if it's just rural, you versus me, if we're speaking relatively, yes.
But again, you have more connections to people in those places, and you have more of that. So when I think about the bug out thing, and I'm trying to avoid the hunting and fishing part because that's obviously what we really want to talk about.
Absolutely.
But those skills become mad useful.
Absolutely.
Like the ability to track, hunt game, the ability to clean them, the ability to dry them, store them, make them into food that keeps. Oh, man, that's going to be... Because, again, the grocery store food is going to be gone. Everything that you didn't have that keeps or is in a can or is dried is gone.
Yeah, I'm going to spend that week, jerkying all the meat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm not going to be so picky about... chicken jerky? No way, man.
Oh, gross.
We're gonna make chicken jerky because I know I got a bunch of chicken breasts in that freezer.
Yeah, because I got chicken.
We're jerkying it.
And the other thing I think a lot of people forget about is foraging too. And also, for those wondering, Central Texas is a very tough place to forage.
Yes,
there's not a lot here, so it's weird. We live in these places. Imagine the people when the power goes out. By the way, that live in Phoenix. It's immediately there's going to be a thought of wait, why do we live here?
Yeah.
What is it that...
you chose poorly.
What is it that Bobby Hill on King of the Hill said when he got out in Phoenix and the temperature was 120? I think he said this city is a monument to man's hubris. And it is. Some places are much harder to live in without air conditioning and civilization.
Sure.
And Central Texas is a little bit like that, but it's not as inhospitable as the desert. But it is the chaparral, which is not the most fun place.
At least there's trees for shade.
Yeah, we got that. So, cool. Well, they got cacti out there. You can kind of stand real close together.
Real tall and
real
straight.
Tight to them, yeah. But we have some food that can be foraged out here. You can start. There's wild barley. There's you can even find wild asparagus here. There's things you can find. There's berries. You can forage, but a lot of people just have zero knowledge of that. Mine is very cursory.
Mine is almost. I would say none.
Yeah,
I have none knowledge of that. I'm working my way very slowly through a book about how to eat in the woods.
That's cool.
So I've at least gotten...
What's it called?
It's called How to Eat in the Woods.
That is, all right, yeah. That
pretty straightforward.
Says right what it is. Yeah.
I've at least gotten to the point that could help me figure it out. It's where you take a plant, right, and you separate it into fruit, if there is fruit, seeds, if there are seeds, leaves, stems, roots. You take one piece at a time, you hold it against your wrist, then you hold it against your lip, then you put it in your mouth, and then you eat a piece, wait 8 hours, and see what happens. And if at any point in that process you turn red, itchy, burning,
or die,
or sick,
and
if you die, then the test is over.
Yeah.
But if you don't
for you,
die,
but the other people, don't eat what Luke ate.
If you don't die, then it's okay, well, that I can eat. Maybe it's probably not delicious. But I can eat it.
Doesn't matter. I think most of our ancestors didn't have that going for them a lot of times. It's not my favorite.
Right.
No, I found it.
Yeah. The first thing I'm grabbing is the box of kosher salt.
Oh, yeah.
So I can make sure Hey, guys, we're eating oak leaves, but they are well seasoned.
Yeah, let me tell you. A little bit on each side, you sear them.
I brought the Old Bay. It's going to be real nice.
Yeah, but it's that classic thing that everybody gets so obsessed with the idea of, the meat being the centerpiece of what you do. But I think you very quickly, more than you would realize, because meat spoils, and then it's a matter of what you can find after that, what meat you can get, how much more of your diet needs to be what you gather from the ground and from, a lot more of your diet has to be that. I bet people get a real good taste for insects again, too, after like 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, that was something really important that I started in the beginning of this book. It says, a lot of people, when it comes down to it, and they're starving, they just start eating grass.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat grass just to fill my stomach. And that actually is counterproductive. If you're not
calories
eating
to try to digest it, then you actually get from it.
If you're not eating nutrient-dense foods, then you're actually doing yourself more harm than you are good, because A, you're going to burn more calories than they produce, but B, then your body has to expel the waste, and that's when you start to become dehydrated.
Oh yeah,
as well.
And that's what will really kill you.
Yes.
Hunger, you can hang out for quite a while, but dehydration,
you can make it hungry for a little bit, and then there's a lot of hunger. We think we're hungry.
Yeah.
Right? I wake up in the morning, oh gosh, I'm famished. Like, you think you're hungry, but a lot of hunger is dehydration. Mm-hmm. And a lot of hunger can also become overcome with, psychologically.
Yeah. So there's a hormone that gets secreted called ghrelin, which is what tells you you're hungry. Mm-hmm. And the thing about ghrelin is that it is very susceptible to scheduling. That if you always eat at a certain time, then your body will release that hormone at the time that you normally eat. Yeah. I think you should have that. And when that gets kind of deregulated by having a messed up schedule, having no access to food, your benchmark for what hunger is changes. And interestingly, the United States has an obesity epidemic. Mm-hmm. It might work in some people's favor in that situation, for at least for a little while, as long as the concerns of their lack of fitness don't overcome them. There was in the UK there was an obese man that went on a water fast, a physician supervised water fast for like over 300 days. And he stayed alive. Wasn't he getting like multivitamins or something? Yeah, I think something along those lines. Yeah. But so he was getting like the micronutrients and the other things he would get from food, and he lived and just lost a lot of weight. So, it's obviously you can't just not eat even if you're overweight.
Right.
But it just shows you that hey, fat storage is there for a reason. There's a reason that we do that. So maybe the U.S. has a fighting chance.
Yeah.
So
we're just planning ahead, man.
Yeah, I'm prepping my waistline. Again,
this isn't my winter coat. This is my Holocaust coat.
And as is tradition, every character we create on the podcast has a rich West Texas accent.
Indeed.
Yeah. Sometimes we go East Texas, but generally it's a very haughty, overconfident West Texan we're putting into these roles.
I feel like overconfident West Texan is redundant.
I said the same thing twice. Yeah, that's great. And saying the same thing twice is the same thing as redundant. So really, we did it 4 times.
Jeez.
That's a lot of math. So the 2-week point, I think, is where we got. But and that's the point at which you've already bugged out. I think there'd be a point at which I bugged out. One of the things I wanted to get to also was that because I am so wrapped up in the idea of ag land or recreational land, I viewed a lot of properties that are vacant, that are out on recreational land and agricultural land. Yeah. So find you a for sale sign out there somewhere.
Yep.
And there's your spot. Because I think...
Don't give the secrets away, Mike.
Really? I got my spot picked out.
Now all our listeners know our plan.
He knows it. Or she. But yeah, there's plenty of places out there
I hadn't actually thought about that. That's a nice
that are plenty vacant. Yeah. And that can serve as your, if you don't have a connection like you do, a personal one, that can place
kind of the bonus about that is that when people do start combing, nobody lives there.
Yeah.
That's for sale. Nobody lives there. They're not going to have anything.
Yeah. And
keep on moving.
Be as far from the highway as you can, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just be way back there. Make it not worth their time for you to get there. So power never comes back on. I think by a month, with no word, no news, nothing beyond word of mouth that rumors spreading between people, I think people know, okay, this might be the new reality. This could be it. And I think you're seeing like all the refrigerator food is gone. All the grocery stores have been looted. All the Walmarts are emptied.
Yep.
People are patient and good, but they're not patient and good for that long. And it's not even like, I wouldn't consider, when you get into a month, if you're a person looting a Walmart at that point, when there's no power, no civilization, I don't think you're a bad person anymore.
Nope.
I think you'd just be dumb not to.
If you're doing it like day of,
yeah,
you kind of suck.
Yeah. But you may end up better than the rest of us, though.
There's
day one.
that.
Yeah.
Depending on what you took.
Right. That's true. Maybe this one took all the birthday cakes.
If you load it up on TVs,
and that's
then you get what you deserve.
That's a good point too. That's a mindset thing, and I think that's a good thing too.
Like,
because
oh man, you guys see that 70-inch back there? Y'all go get that.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
I'm gonna go get all the 22 ammo.
Seriously.
I get one of the at Academy. They have a bucket of 22 ammo called a bucket of freedom.
I have not seen.
You haven't seen that? It's great.
That is so fantastic.
You pick up one of those, by the way.
You should. Yeah. Now this.
I'm making a checklist.
I know.
I kind of half joked about it earlier, but I'm really making a checklist.
I'm going to listen to this episode of our podcast more times than I do any.
This is what's going to drain my battery. Actually, when the power goes out, listening to this podcast and going, did I get that? Did I get that? Did I get that? That's how I'm going to load the truck.
Well, we've got an article going up on nowyoutried.com that kind of talks about this scenario. So maybe we'll add to that, like put some checklist stuff in it.
I'm going to print it out.
But okay, so
put it in the glove box.
And I think once you get
a checklist, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, once you get past 6 weeks to forever on after that, I think that's the point at which you are now living a different life. And that's your ability to, you're going to have to build things yourself. You're going being able to garden and farm for yourself, the kind of things we always heard about: garden, hunt, farm, fish, build things for yourself. Whatever skills you took with you. Because here's the thing, whatever skills you took with you out there when everything shut off, that's it for until you have somebody teach you something new, or you learn it by trial and error. Because you're not
learning how to do something on YouTube anymore.
No, there's no nowyoutried.com to go like, how do I build a jumbo garden bed? And you just got to figure stuff out. And I think some of that goes back to, this last episode where we talked about what are your core? What are the things that make you a useful, self-sustainable person? And I think if you've gotten yourself a good background in those things, if you've gotten yourself if you're an outdoorsman, if you are a good communicator, you're somebody that can listen, if you're, if you have a baseline of physical fitness, all that list of 5 things we talked about, I think that sets you up in a worst case scenario situation to where you can get by. Because I think what's fun about these exercises is that you're saying, okay, everything you rely on is going away. You're left with you and the people you know and what little things are durable enough to stick. So what is it about you that's useful out there? And what made me think about it is you saying the people looting Walmart getting the 70-inch plasma screen. Like that's the wrong mindset.
Yep.
That's the
mindset I want other people to have, though.
Right. Yeah. Let them have that kind of scarcity mindset about that stuff.
They think it's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm going to act like it's not coming back.
Right. Because you already built yourself a sort of life and a sort of lifestyle and a mindset to where, I'm already okay without that stuff if I had to cut it off tomorrow. I'm okay without like the nicer shower curtains or a shower. Like I can, if I had to be gone with those, that's what going out in the woods gets you. That's what being an outdoorsman gets you. It's like, I didn't shower for the past 3 days. I'm all right. Yeah.
That's kind of fun too.
It is kind of fun, actually. So much less work. But let's kind of round it back into, because we're going to do a whole series of these. We're going to talk about, the other scenarios that come up. And this is the most basic one because I think there's really not an antagonist in this one.
Right.
The antagonist is just like the challenge is you. But what is it that's specific, you think? Like if you had to like put a bow on it, what's specific to this power going out, never coming on scenario what's specifically important? What's the biggest thing to bear in mind about this? Like what separates this from other kind of disaster scenarios that people don't think of?
I think on this one, the thing that's really important to think about is that you can be a lot more uncomfortable than you think you can.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm going to use my AC all the time. I'm going to watch TV when I can. And, but I don't think people realize that they're going to be okay. I think people are going to wig out real fast without refrigerators, without, air conditioning, without their phones. Right. They're definitely going to wig out about that. But I think you have to remember for, millions of years, people didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah, this is all incredibly recent.
And we're still here.
Yeah.
We still exist.
Like that whole machine you're walking around in is built for not having all that stuff.
Exactly.
It's still got all that stuff.
I think trying to reassure yourself that you can be more uncomfortable than you think you can, which was what I think is cool about, spending as much time outdoors as possible.
Yeah.
As you can. And that's the experience we get a lot. Being out there, you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you've got a goal. And there's something you're trying to do, and so you're willing to be uncomfortable to do that thing, and if something like this was to happen, power goes out, well, now my goal is to survive.
Yeah, that's
right?
The goal is staying alive.
So
now.
Being comfortable is no longer job one. Showers, whatever.
Yeah.
Running water, fine.
Speaking of the showers thing, my head was running through it when we first talked about the shower thing, and you mentioned it again. By day 6, can you imagine the smell where people live?
Yeah.
Like, not just other humans. Rotting food. Sewage doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
In cities, can you imagine?
The trash isn't getting picked up.
The trash isn't getting picked up. That's a good point. There's no running water after a while, and people are just doing it where they got to do it. Outdoors. You got to dig holes.
Yeah.
Like the smell.
That would be really hard for me.
I think that probably, in a lot of these scenarios, but that's one that's going to come back to me. I think if I had to take something, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, to put a bow on this, is that in this situation, there's no enemy. There's no immediate, it was an invading army, or there's this big cataclysmic event or a hurricane. There's no thing that you can point to as causing it. And even if there is, it happened 20,000 miles away or whatever. Maybe it happened thousands of miles away from you.
Yeah.
And you'll never know, because the news will never get to you, and the power just went out, and you'll never know. And that uncertainty, I think, is a big deal. Like you don't have a thing like there's an end point to it, or it's going to blow over, or it's going to get resolved, or there's a political deal that's going to happen. You don't have any of that. You're just in the dark, and you just have no choice but to move forward.
Yeah.
And you have to do whatever you can to keep from being that probably scary large percentage of people that will just die in the first month.
Right.
You have to have a mindset already that, you don't have, I don't buy into the prepper mindset. I don't think it's healthy to always be thinking about that kind of stuff. But I really do think
kind of a scary way to live your life.
It is. It is. It's a form of anxiety. It's just it's a mental illness almost to go too far into it. But I agree with what you're saying, that I think everything you need.
But there is a difference in being prepared.
Yes. And look, if you're posting on forums about it all the time, it's
about the pronunciation, right? Prepper or prepare.
Yeah, correct. Are you a noun or are you verbing it? What are you doing? I kind of agree with your point and the way that I would put it is everything you need in this situation is in you. It's already part of who you are. Whatever kind of person you've built up to where when the lights go off is who you need. That's what you're taking forward from that point on.
Right.
That's your resource, because all the other stuff is running out.
Yeah.
It's going to run out. It's going to go bad. It's going to spoil. You can't get as far. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to become back to basics. Who's ready and who's willing to do the stuff?
Yeah.
Who the people that can't dissect a frog in science class because they vomit when they see guts. Are they going to be much use to you anymore? No, they're
not really.
They may survive, but they're going to need other people that can kill. They're going to need other people that can take things apart. They're going to need other things that are okay, people that are okay with blood. You're going to need other people that can mend a broken leg if you can't do it, or
right.
that can, get you out of septic shock in the best way they possibly can. Or a person that knows which antibiotics to grab off the shelf. So there's the self-sufficient part of it, but I guess that kind of also leads me into, you also will get a really cool chance to use that communication core facet of yourself and realize that humans do so well because we work together. You know, like, I honestly think, like, now that I think about it, if I were going to bug out, I might bug out to your parents' place too.
Yeah,
because I know I could show up and you wouldn't shoot me.
Right.
And then
that's the most important part.
Right. Like, I would find people that I know my skill set complements theirs, and we trust each other, and there's a team dynamic already.
Right.
Because that's what's going to keep you alive, really.
Yeah, because I think a big part of that, you know, what you're saying is, you know, people are gonna need other people, and if you don't communicate well and you're not bringing something to the table, just something.
Right. Even if it's just a willingness to go work.
Right.
Which is probably,
if you're just looking to mooch,
yeah, and you're going to get sniffed out way quicker.
You're going to get one warning shot coming down that driveway.
Right. And in a world without emails and text and emojis and stuff like that, I think it becomes way easier to sniff out the people that are just looking for a mooch, that are looking for a handout.
Yeah, like you said, you know, humans are built for none of the things we have now.
Right.
Humans are just built to live on the earth.
Yeah.
Right? As it is. But it's a question of how much extra did you put into yourself?
Right.
Because you'll survive for a little while, right? Nobody dies an hour into being lost in the woods,
right?
Unless they fall off a cliff or something, right?
0 degrees or whatever.
Yeah. All things being, you know, normal, you can make it like a day.
Yeah, but the people that do die within an hour are the people that panic and do something dumb usually.
Yep.
And that's what that, you know, who you are, or if you went off alone, maybe don't go off alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe that's your first mistake.
There's just so many steps, you know, that lead to you being in a lot of trouble. It's all about decision making. I think is very important as well.
Yeah.
Can you keep a cool head and make a good decision?
Yeah. And again, like, going back to the power going out and just the loss of that. That's so much more important than all the other scenarios where you might have to plan for, like, there might be a gunfight, or there may be like a toxic gas cloud. Like, that's an external thing that you have to plan against, and creates an equalizing force where, like, okay, some people are going to do better because of their job that they had, or whatever. And, like, it's going to change the game. But when it's just like, hey, nothing works anymore, what do you got? I think this is like the most basic baseline kind of survival into the world thing, because it really is just what we're saying. Like, what kind of person are you? And how good are you cooperating with people?
And obviously, at no point in human history has it been more important for people to think about this.
Yeah, very true.
You know, I feel like that's one of those things that goes without saying, but you got to say it.
Yeah.
You know, because so many people are just not even thinking about it. That's not even an option. It's not even on their radar.
Right.
That the power could go out, but like that.
Yeah. And
it could go out.
Right.
What are you going to do? Are you going to freak out?
Right.
Or do you have some idea?
Yeah, and that's why I think that 72 hours point is so important. That first landmark that I kind of hit on, that's why that keeps popping in my head. That's the point at which you start differentiating. Is like, do you have any idea? Or are you going to be fumbling around in the dark, literally?
Yeah, because by 72 hours, the frozen food is gone now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and the mean people have started coming out.
Yeah.
The real meanies. All right, I promised you I was going to elk call.
Let's hear it.
Talked about this a couple weeks back. I got that trip coming up, like we talked about.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's...
like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, the whole studio right now is like a collection of the stuff that I'm trying to, like, lay out to put.
Is that a new backpack?
Yeah, it's a new backpack. I'll tell you more about that offline. It's a nice bag. I'm digging it a lot. It's got a pistol holster too. Don't worry. And I'm bear ready. That's like obviously the only feature anybody cares about.
Sure.
Pistol holster and a hydration pack for iced tea.
Yeah.
All right, so
full of fruit punch Gatorade.
I'm brand new to elk calling. Like I am. The one thing that I've gotten here that I think it's actually kind of like a cool study tool is the Primos Hoochie Mama, which is basically a squeeze toy but it's a cow out call, and it's pitch perfect. So honestly, this will probably be what Aaron, who's actually one of our contributors on the East Coast, Aaron George, he is going to come with me on this trip for a few days, and then he's short on time as well with the practicing. We're probably going to use this for cow calling. So sounds like this. I mean, it's pitch perfect for cow calling. Like I can emulate that with a mouth call, but that's kind of my.
Well, what's cool about that is he can hold it in one hand.
Yeah. And
then it's got like a bulb on one end that you basically just squeeze with your thumb.
Yeah.
So and it's got a a little eye for a tether. So you can tether this to the side of your pack and just let it hang.
Right.
And when you need to just grab it and get a bull's attention.
Right.
It's just right there.
Just get him to stop.
To squeeze and go. So that's pretty cool. That's not that. What's also cool is this is beginner ready.
Yep. Which is, I went back and forth. Is that something I want? But if I can't get the mouth call anywhere close, I'm going to stick with that.
I would. Yeah. I mean, first shot, I take any advantages you can get.
Yeah. Use the technology.
Absolutely. That's what it's here for.
Hey, that thing doesn't depend on electricity, so it holds up in my...
Boom. Nice.
The whole theme. All right, so here's the mouth call version of a cow call. So if you haven't seen an elk mouth call, it looks just like a turkey call.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
It just has like a little hard ridge over the reed, the rubber, the latex part.
To change the sound a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah. That is ear piercing. Put these headphones on.
And I'm trying to move this microphone back too, because these things are built for noise. I'm like facing the other direction in the room right now. And my best practice spot is in the car.
Sure.
Oh man, it's
real
in
loud.
A closed space with just glass around, and my ears.
I do that with my turkey call. If I'm on a long trip, especially if I'm by myself, just practice in the car.
All right, so I got the
again. This one even better than the squeeze. That mouth call is totally hands-free.
Oh, yeah.
So you can be walking around, because you're bow hunting, right?
Yep.
So you're going to have that bow in your hand. It's not like you can have a rifle slung over your shoulder and then grab it when you need it.
Yeah.
You got to walk holding your bow.
I mean, unless I hip fire the rifle, which, obviously I could.
So you got to walk holding the bow. So, and especially if you want to have, if you want to be knocked and really ready, then mouth call, totally hands-free.
That's why I'm working on that as hard as I can to be at least passable at it because of that freedom with the hands.
Mm-hmm.
A few days there'll be two of us, so we can have a caller and a shooter.
Yeah.
But when it's just me out there, I'm going to need every finger I got in my
sure.
to be able to manipulate as much. All right, so here's my attempt at bugling. I got the bugle tube, got the mouth call, combine the two. See what we get out of this. So I'm going to be going a growl into a bugle and finish with a chuckle.
Okay.
That's kind of like that's the elk. Hey, here I am. Watch out, ladies. Any other fellas, get the hell out of my way. I'm rolling in here, kind of thing. Like, you get your attention. So, Ooh, that is loud.
Yeah.
All right, one more.
That's cool, though.
Ooh, one more. Oh, terrible. So that's what happens a lot of times if I don't really prep is I get a bunch of spit in my mouth.
Yeah.
And it cuts that bugle off like that. So that's something I have to bear. I'll probably be completely dry mouthed and exhausted on the mountain, so it won't be that big of an issue.
Yeah.
So I really have to pay attention to that. It's different than turkey calling because too much rasp will just sound terrible through this thing, as you just heard.
Yeah.
Whew.
That's crazy.
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure to do it on the microphone like that. I can't wait to hear how that sounds when we're mixing this episode, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just going to be...
Just totally peaked out.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm totally unprepared on the calling side, but...
Does Aaron have one of those?
He's got almost the same setup, yeah.
Okay.
But he's really counting... He's counting more on a more simplified reed that Primos does, this blue reed thing that you can just blow straight through.
Okay, so you were doing your mouth call into the tube.
Right. And then this
But
has...
the tube also has a reed that you could put on,
snap
over, like a
onto it
diaphragm
and blow
kind of
through it.
thing.
Here, I'm not anywhere near as good with that, but I'll at least attempt it if I can actually figure it out.
Seems like it would be less complicated.
It is. It's less complicated, but I haven't practiced with it as much, so I'm not as good at it. But you just stick your lower lip in it and go for it. Let's pop this on here.
I've heard that before.
I don't get it.
Me either. It's
Yeah, it's
just a thing I say
I
sometimes.
just make jokes and I don't actually know what they
Yeah.
mean. Okay, so... Nope, that's not it.
This makes for great
There we go.
podcasting.
Yes, it's a good radio visual we're having.
Yeah.
See, I can't, I'm not practiced enough with this tube to even get a sound out of it. Like, I can't even, I might have it backwards for all I know. But I've been practicing with nothing but the
mouth call.
Nothing but the mouth call. I'll have to use another episode here. See, I've got it on backwards even. So, trust me, this thing, when it came factory ready, I could blow through it, but I can't get it. So.
Yeah, I even made ad noise with it.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Straight out of the box.
yeah, which is impressive, because you're terrible.
Well,
Just terrible.
I used to play the trumpet in high school, so
Yes.
it's very similar.
So if you need me to blow taps for an elk on that,
Well, it really did. I was really surprised just working on a turkey call how much just the mechanics
it does. It helps.
are very similar.
I played wind instrument when I was younger. I'm not going to say which one. But
Which one, Mike?
I said I wasn't going to say.
Which one?
I played the flute when I was younger. Yeah. But I got
Flautist.
I got to sit with all the ladies up front, so
And be awkward.
awkward as heck because I was 12. Yeah, but it really does help, and like having a musical background and like having done all that stuff with
Just
music, and
understanding
singing,
how
all that kind of stuff.
wind across some sort of opening makes a noise.
I agree that it does help a whole bunch, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna need all the help I can get. I'm probably better off just taking a flute up there, honestly, for this trip. All right, we got a listener question. So, and this one is one that I have been wanting to answer in some way, shape, or form on the podcast. But the question was, hey guys, love what you're doing. Would love to be a contributor. What do I need to do?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I know. That's very cool. So we have a spot on the website at nowyoutry.com where you can click and you can be, and it just talks about be a contributor. And there's there's a form on there you fill out, but I guess people were kind of curious what that means. Like, what do we want out of a contributor?
Well, I just love the idea of, because this whole thing started with you and me just like figuring out stuff we can do, right? We're trying to learn how to do as much as we can for ourselves. And something that we've talked about a lot is learning from other people. Obviously we don't know everything. There's a lot of stuff I don't know how to do that I want to learn how to do. So that really opens up the opportunity to have some other people come in and join us to show us what they know and talk about things they know how to do. So I think people, it'd be great to have some other folks maybe writing articles on the site. I think that'd be cool. If you have a DIY project that you think would be useful to, the things we're talking about.
We always love recipes because then we'll immediately make them.
Recipes are great. I will tell you, I'm going to be very scrutinizing.
Yes, Chef
for
Luke,
recipes.
Chef Luke will get final edit on all recipes, obviously. Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to have people kicking in ideas and joining what we're doing here.
So that is that we are definitely looking for people that want to write. People that want to write. Now, if you are a content creator in another avenue, like if you prefer making video or you're a digital artist, anything like that, we'd love to have your contributions as well.
Sure.
I think those are important. We want to share a piece of the pie. We want to share a piece of the experience, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And in the future, I think something we'd like to do is have people that are contributors that are kind of associates that work on the podcast side of things as well.
Absolutely.
I'd like to have somebody, if there's somebody we want to interview in your region and, can't get the whole Dog and Pony show up there, and then we get that person out there, we get that contributor out, and you go talk to them, that becomes part of the show. I think that's a great way to get more interesting people that may be, all over and not always in our backyard.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so there you go. Go to nowyoutry.com, click on the contribute link, and that'll give you some clues right there. And I think that's the primary thing. Just get in contact with us and let's talk about what you can do.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Thanks for listening to the Now You Try podcast. Check out content related to this episode and all other episodes, or contact us with questions at nowyouTry.com.